Ma'am, you need to keep yourself muted.
Huh?
I was talking to the people that keep unmuting themselves.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Holly, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Just trying to get the reset date for some of the cases.
Okay, the SAP calendar is going to be set to August the 18th.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, I think everyone's connected. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and this is going to be the state court expedited accusation calendar. This is a list of cases. I see folks are coming into Courtroom 2 to get ready. So let me just see if I can get Courtroom 3. Are you ready?
Yes, Judge, I'm ready. I have position number 15 in the chair now, please.
All right. And who else do you have?
I also have position number 1, Ms. Barber.
Okay, thank you. All right, while I'm waiting for Courtroom 2 to get ready, I'll start with Courtroom 3. For the folks in the Courtroom 3, I'd just like to advise you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case during this proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and we will have either a public defense attorney or a conflict defense attorney to represent you unless you have your own private counsel. Courtroom 2, is everyone there too? Nope, still settling in. Okay. So we're going to begin with position number 15.
Judge.
Yeah.
One is here.
Everyone's there. Okay. For the folks in Courtroom 2, again, also, this is the expedited accusation calendar. We're going to be addressing each of your cases. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. All right, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Most of you have already spoken to public defense attorneys who are representing you at the present time. And if you cannot afford one, they will be representing you. In addition, some of you may be represented by conflict defense counsel. So I do see there's some witnesses or observers or alleged victims. If you want to address the court in your particular case, please remember that I will be placing you under oath if you choose to testify. So Jessica Smith, her case number is 22 CR 005-2008. Ms. Smith has been accused of 2 counts of simple battery domestic violence from a January 29, 2021 incident. Ms. Smith, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. J. Kim. Mr. Toussaint, any priors, please?
Who is this?
Position 15, and then the next one will be position 1.
Give me the name, please.
Jessica Smith? You did recommend PTS, but I didn't know which Smith you were referring to.
We got 2 Smith? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. Yeah, it was just, this our 8th arrest. Last was 2020, probation. There's no underlying charge. 2015 shoplifting conviction. 2013 possession of marijuana dismissed. 2012 probation out of Cobb. She got first offender for probation in 2009. She had an 08 afraid that was NOD.
All right, that's good. Thank you. Okay, Miss Duncan, is it?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So what are we recommending today?
The state is going to be recommending a $5,000 total surety bond. That's $2,500 per charge, Your Honor. The state is additionally going to be requesting no further contact with the victim in this case, which will be a Miss A. Smith. We're going to defer to the court in regards to the stay away, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. In this case, Your Honor, there was a dispute between the victim in this case, Miss A. Smith, and the defendant, Miss Jessica Smith, who is the mother of the victim in this case. The circumstances surrounding that dispute are that the defendant in this case wanted her daughter to clean up. There was a verbal dispute, and from that verbal dispute, it became a physical altercation in which the victim alleges that the defendant was pulling her hair and bit her in the forehead. Here we have somewhat of a concern about the risk of reoffending, because it does say that they do live together, as well as some concern for flight risk, Your Honor. Given that the victim alleges that she was bitten in the forehead, we have some concern about the safety of the victim in this case. So we're going to be requesting that bond as stated, in addition to the fact that this defendant does have recent probation revocations as well as violations in the recent history. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Smith is 34 years old, and actually, Your Honor, she has 3 children, 13, 15, 18. The complaining witness is now 18 years old.
Yes.
Hello?
Just 1 second. Ms. McLeod, no, all right, that's quite all right. Sorry about
Okay,
that, Ms. Kim.
no problem. Yes, actually, she is. This case happened on January 29, 2021, so almost 1.5 years ago. And they're all, 3 children are there with the mother, and she is still there with mother. There was no other cases happened. And these 2 warrants, actually, they happened on the same date and almost same time. It's just that one has a pulling hair, the other one has a biting. I just don't understand why they have to be 2 separate warrants for that same incident. And yet she was born and raised here in Georgia, and she is a single mother of 3 children, and she has a kidney failure, Your Honor. So she goes through dialysis 3 times a week, and she really has to go back to her hospital for tomorrow again. So she's going through a lot of hardships, and she also had recent funerals for brother and cousin. So this is just kind of like a lot of hardships after hardship for her. We would like to request for signature on bond, and she is recommended by pretrial services, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bond is set at $1,500 on each count as a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. no further violent contact with Amia Smith. That means there cannot be any verbal or physical altercations with Ms. Smith. If there are any altercations and the police get involved, Miss Jessica will be back in jail with either no bond or a surety bond. While she has to report to pretrial once a month, and she needs to complete a one-day anger awareness program. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons or firearms. I have Fairburn Road as the address. Is that the correct address for Miss Jessica Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we will send her notice for her next court date. It's a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial. For the notice will be sent to her address. Please make sure you don't forget to show up. If you don't show up for court, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Position 1, we have Miss Amber Barber.
Your Honor, with position 1, my understanding from talking to PD Gant is Ms. Barber is going to enter a plea. I'm just not sure who to send the paperwork to. I did reach out via chat to Courtroom 3.
Here we go again.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'll put it in the chat, Ms. Paul.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, let's have a seat first. All right, Miss Amber Barber, this is case 22 CR 005. Just one second. Do we have a Spanish interpreter?
She just logged on, Judge.
Okay, all right. We'll put Miss Gant in a breakout after we address this case. Miss Amber Barber is accused of criminal trespass in accusation number 22 CR 005 186H. And this is from August 2nd, 2022. Miss Barber, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. You do have a right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford one, one of the public defense attorneys are obligated to represent you under our Constitution. However, if you choose not to have any representation and you want to waive your right to counsel, then you must let me know that you are waiving your right to counsel. And you need to do that willingly, knowingly, and voluntarily. If you choose to represent yourself, you are responsible for understanding how the law applies to the facts of your case and how the any decision you make may impact any other open cases you have against you, your personal situation, including your residency, your job, and so forth. So, Ms. Gant, I believe that you were in consultation with Ms. Barber?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. I did have a chance to speak with Ms. Barber moments before this court hearing began. I advised her of her rights to have our office represent her for a bond hearing. However, Your Honor, she wants to move forward with the plea pro se. And Your Honor, at this time, I am unable to fulfill my ethical obligations of due diligence and preparation by representing her on a plea at this point, and she is prepared to move forward pro se, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Barber, Attorney Wanda Gant is not comfortable moving forward with a plea. You have a right to not take a plea. You have a right to take a plea. Now, the question becomes, do you want to have the representation of the attorney from the public defender's office to move forward? Or do you want to represent yourself?
I want to represent myself. I was told that if I take the plea of guilty, that I would have 1 day served, 1 day to serve in jail.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I just want to know whether you want a lawyer to represent you or whether you want to represent yourself.
I'm now confused, but my original plan.
I can't understand mumbling. You need to speak up.
I said, now I'm confused because what I was told was a 1 day served in jail.
Let me see what the prosecutor said. Ms. Falk, what was the offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is in fact what Ms. Barber has stated. It's 12 months probation, 1 day jail, credit for time served. The balance of her probation would be suspended, and we would have a stay away from 751 North Central Avenue, which is the Shell gas station.
That's what I would like to take. That's what I thought I was doing if I represented myself.
And are you choosing to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Sarge, where should the prosecutor send the paperwork for?
I have sent the paperwork, Your Honor. She did
Oh,
put it in
okay.
the chat, and I have gone ahead and sent it to the officer.
All right, Miss Barber, you need to review the documents and understand the rights that you are waiving and giving up if you decide to go forward with this plea. And there are boxes on each side about, whether it's a yes or no response. It's like filling out a medical form, but right now you're filling out a legal form. You understand?
I understand.
All right, and you need to read that form and sign it and fill out all the boxes, answer all the questions, because if it's incomplete, then I won't have the patience to do a plea today. I'll reset the case 2 weeks out for you to address your plea. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. All right, so we are going to return to Miss Barber. And what position number was it that she Miss Gant, that you wanted an interpreter? Was it 3? Okay. That
Yes, Your Honor, position 3, Jasmine Brown.
Jasmine Demetria Brown. And where is she? Do you know if she's at the South Annex or at the jail?
She is at the South Annex, Your Honor.
And has the South Annex logged on? No, they have not. All right.
Okay,
Oh,
Your Honor, just to let the court know, the state did extend an offer on Miss Brown's case as well, so we will need to know who to send that paperwork to if Miss Brown does decide to take a plea.
All right, send the paperwork right now to Miss Gant so she can convey the information. And then also Miss Gant, explain to her that, if she wants to waive her right to counsel, she needs to do so willingly, knowingly, and voluntarily. Okay, now Attorney Crumby, do you have a case with us? Oh,
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
fine, thank you. Is it Dr.
Your Honor, I have
Crumby?
Brian
You've got a lot
Sullivan.
of titles after your name, so I didn't know.
Judge, I'll be whatever you want me to be as long as we get Mr. Sullivan out of jail.
Who's your client?
Brian Sullivan, Your Honor.
Brian Sullivan. Okay, thank you. Courtroom 2, do we have a Brian Sullivan there as well? No, we can take him later. I'm going to address the person in the chair. I just need to know Sullivan's in the courtroom. All right, so we're going to address the individual in the chair and Sullivan's on deck. Okay, and who do we have in the
Thank you.
chair?
We have position 4.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Gant, let me know when your client Smith, oh not, Demetria Brown is logged on, okay? All right, position 4 is Tyrone Edward Coleman, is that correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Coleman, your case number is 22 CR 005189E. You're accused of simple battery domestic violence from August 3rd, 2022. And Mr. Coleman, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. All right, Mr. Tucson, any priors on Mr. Coleman?
No.
All right, first arrest. And Ms. Duncan, or Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, it's me. This incident occurred August 3rd of 2022 at 5345 Hayward Place, South Fulton. This incident, apparently, the nexus of it was that Ms. Coleman, Betty Coleman, first and last name is common spelling, stated that she had gotten into an argument with her husband, Tyrone Coleman, about not communicating with her. During that argument, she stated she removed the bedding from the mattress and attempted to disconnect the cable. And while doing so, the defendant grabbed her by the neck, threw her to the ground, got on top of her, and forced her wedding ring off of her finger. She was able to get up and call the police. And she stated to us after we spoke to her that she denied that he placed his hands around her neck, just stated that she was trying to take the ring off her finger. She did not have any visible injuries. We are recommending on this case a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with Tyrone Coleman, a stay away from 5345 Hayward Place, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. As your honor is aware, this happened yesterday. And so it is fairly recent. We are concerned about a lack of cooling off period in this situation because this kind of escalated pretty quickly from a disagreement about communication to somebody throwing somebody to the ground, straddling them and forcing a ring off their finger. Additionally, this happened at about 10:13 last night. So we're not even talking about 24 hours later that we are coming before this court. And that is why we're asking for the stay away and the no further contact right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And is Mrs. Coleman on the Zoom? This would be the time to unmute and speak. Yes, all right, I see someone with diagnostics iPhone. You need to unmute your device.
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. Are you Mrs. Betty Coleman?
I am.
And would you like to contribute to this hearing?
Yes, I would, Your Honor.
Please
Yes,
raise
Your
your right
Honor.
hand.
I'm sorry.
Please raise your right hand.
Oh.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, I do apologize for interrupting. If
Yes,
I
Ms. Gant.
may ask that Ms. Coleman limit her testimony to her wishes for contact.
And your honor, the state of course is going to object to that as we have every single time, since the other information that Ms. Coleman could give could be relevant to the IALA factors, particularly intimidating the witness and risk of reoffense.
Understood. Thank you. I've read the warrant, and in this particular case, I'm going to actually overrule the objection. I mean, no, I'm not going to sustain the objection and sustain, because I only want Mrs. Coleman to tell me whether she feels comfortable with Mr. Coleman being back at home or having any form of, well, communication with Mrs. Coleman, since that seems to be the root of the problem.
Yes, I feel comfortable.
All right. And anything else to add?
He did not place his hands on me. He
All right.
simply took the ring off, as he stated.
Took the ring off. And where is this precious little item?
I don't know what he did with it.
All right. Good to know. Thank you. All right, Ms. Gant, you may mute your Zoom, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tyrone Coleman is 55 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2005. He's been married to his wife, Miss Betty Coleman, for 22 years. He has family here, including his brother and 3 children, ages 32, 31, and 19. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. I would ask this court for a no violent contact order. My client wants to continue having contact, and we certainly heard from Ms. Coleman that she wants to continue having contact. Mr. Coleman completed high school. He also has 2.5 years of college in business administration. He is owner operator of a Zaxby's restaurant, has been in that business since 2005. He denies the allegations. This is his first arrest. I am requesting a signature bond. And again, Your Honor, we would ask for no violent contact. And again, we're opposed to the stay away. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Bond is set at $3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. There shall be no further contact with Betty Coleman. He is also to stay away from the marital home. He may return to the location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. While he is reporting to pretrial services every month, he will attend and complete 8 weeks of anger management classes, after which he may then petition or file a motion to lift the no further contact to no further violent contact. And this is only after he's finished the 8-week anger management program. While he's on a signature bond, he is not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And his next court, and also within 30 days of being released from the jail, he is to come down to the courthouse and update us with his new address so that we may send him his notice to appear in court. Do you have any questions, Mr. Coleman, about your bond?
No, Your Honor.
Your
All right.
Honor.
Yes,
Your Honor,
yes, Ms. Gant?
if I may, instead, Your Honor, request a one-day anger management class. My client has no prior history, and this is a simple battery charge. It's presumed innocent.
I can either go with an 8-week anger management class or a 6-month domestic violence intervention program. Which one do you think your client would like to go for?
8 weeks, Your Honor.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Paying for
You're
this.
welcome.
Sorry, Mr. Tucson, what'd you say?
This gonna go through pretrial, the 8 weeks?
Yes. No. The anger management is going to be at his expense,
Okay.
not pretrial, at his expense. Thank you.
You didn't say that. That's what I was.
I'm so sorry. Yes, no, I'm saying, okay.
All right.
Good
All
afternoon,
right.
Your Honor. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is the Spanish interpreter. I just want to double check if I'm in the right place, please. I thought position 3, I'm sorry. Position 3, Miss Jasmine Brown.
Well, you are our lucky gem. So because South Annex just chimed on. Deputy Milton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Give me 2 minutes because it might be a situation where that I will have to put in the chat to explain to you what's going on.
Okay, all right. We're going to hold off on the conference with Demetria Brown until I get a status from South Annex. Please hold and then we'll find out.
And
Okay.
Your Honor, I do apologize for interrupting. If we are placed in that breakout, Derek Howard would like to join as well.
All right, will do. Just let me get the status of South Annex and then we will move on. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. This is Brian Sullivan. Is that correct? Are you Mr. Brian Sullivan?
This is position number 5, Judge.
Oh, no. I need Mr. Sullivan if he's available. That was who I wanted next.
Copy from Mr. Sullivan.
All right, this is Brian Sullivan, case number 22 CR 0052021. Mr. Sullivan, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Daniel Crumby, excuse me. And do you see your attorney on the screen?
Yes, I see.
Okay. You've been accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass, domestic violence from a February 26, 2022 incident. The accusations have already been created and filed as soon after you were booked at the Fulton County Jail. That's why this case is now with the State Court of Fulton County. So, Mr. Crumby, we're first going to get a preview of his GCIC, and then Ms. Duncan is going to give the recommendation for the state, after which I will hear from you. Mr. Tucson? You're on mute, Tucson?
This is 8th arrest. Last arrest was last month in Cobb County on probation violation. He's actually on probation, so I don't know how he was recommended. He's on probation for sale of marijuana. They gave him 5 years probation June 2018, so that should take it to next year. But he don't have any violence.
I'm sorry, gave him probation through when?
In 2018, so it expires June of 2023.
Okay.
They gave him 5 years.
All right.
The history is just marijuana and drug possession. He don't have any violence though.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Duncan?
Yes, John, this incident occurred on February 26, 2022 at 1558 Deauville Court, Deauville Court. Officers responded at that time because they were dispatched due to a fight call. When they arrived on scene, they encountered the victim, in this case, Ms. Giovanna Stateman. That's Javonna Stateman, common spelling. Ms. Stateman had called the police because she stated that her living boyfriend and child's father, the defendant in this case, Mr. Brian Sullivan, had attacked her. She stated that they were arguing about a cell phone bill when he became violent with her. He grabbed her and began to throw her around the room. When she walked out of the room to avoid the confrontation, Your Honor, he followed her out of the room and pushed her into the hallway. He pushed her with such force at that time, Your Honor, that it created significant damage to the wall. Officers indicated that there was a large hole in the hallway wall when they came to view the scene of the incident. In addition to that, after being pushed into the wall, the defendant tried to grab her daughter and leave the home, and the defendant in this case punched her in the face. And she stated to the defendant at the time that she did not want to fight. However, he continued to approach her aggressively, and she went outside of the home and called the police. He stayed in and kept throwing things around, Your Honor, though that's the basis for the simple battery, family violence, and the criminal trespass. Here we have somewhat of a concern of the risk of reoffense, given that the parties do live together as well as share a child. We have some concerns about intimidation, given the circumstances surrounding this case. And we also have a concern about a flight risk, given that there are some probation violations, as well as being currently on probation. I have been notified that the victim is on the line and would like to speak. However, the state is going to recommend a $3,000 total surety bond. That's $2,500 for the simple battery, family violence, and a $500 total surety for the criminal trespass. We're also going to request a no further contact, a third-party child contact to stay away from the incident location, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. When we attempted to contact this victim earlier, it's noted that we did have an unsuccessful contact. However, she is on the line if Your Honor would like to sound for her.
Well, okay, so we did reach her. Okay. Mr. Crombie, do you have any objection to Ms. Stateman making a statement?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Javon Stateman, if you'd like to unmute.
Yes, ma'am. Good day, Your Honor.
Good day. If you'd like to contribute, you need to be placed under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the statement you make or the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. So this happened back in February 26th, and it happened at a location called Deauville Court, but I've got an address of Hollywood Road for the defendants. So who lives where?
Right. I live there. That happened. He was moving out that Friday. He was already in the process of moving out at the end of the month, as we discussed. I just wanted to say, since the time of the incident, he has been very apologetic. He has shown changed behavior. He has fixed the damages in my home. We do share a 3-year-old toddler, at which we do exchange her, and we have been able to exchange her and have him pick her up from daycare on his days and bring her home. It hasn't been any type of aggression. It hasn't been any type of violent contact since the incident. I've never experienced anything like this with him. I don't feel it's a show to his character. I just feel like he was having a bad day. It's no excuse, but we all have those. So for me, I know I want to know violence, but a contact order, because we do have a responsibility with our child on a weekly basis.
A bad day. Huh. Okay. All right, Mr. Crombie. Yes, Ms. Duncan.
If I may just ask her one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Stateman, on the date in question, February 26, 2022, did the defendant in this case push you into the wall, causing damage to the wall in your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Crombie?
No questions for at this time, Your Honor.
And your bond recommendation?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Your Honor, first and foremost, I represent Mr. Sullivan on the Cobb County case as well. That case has already been disposed of. He pled guilty to the revocation violation, and he was placed back on probation until the term of his probation ends. So that case has been adjudicated. Next, Your Honor, Mr. Sullivan, he's in his 30s, and he works full-time to support the family. Ms. Giovanna has her job, Your Honor, but Mr. Sullivan is a top provider for his company, the top salesperson. He's already served 15 plus days of incarceration prior to being here today. He would like
15 days plus for what?
He has holds for other charges, Your
Oh,
Honor.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right, not for this case. All right,
No, Your Honor, no. He was picked up on the probation violation first in Cobb County.
understood. Okay.
And then
So, go ahead.
they held him in custody until I believe yesterday. And then they released him and turned him over to Fulton County. And that's why we're here today on the underlying charges.
All right, thank you. And just to do a brief, position number 3, Mr. Jasmine Brown is going to be a medical reset to tomorrow. For August 5th. So I think that was the only case in which we needed a Spanish interpreter. So I think we're going to reset the case to tomorrow, and we'll need an interpreter at that time.
Thank you.
Your Honor. May I be excused if that
Yes.
was all?
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. For Mr. Sullivan, on the simple battery and the criminal trespass, the simple battery is going to be 2,500, and the trespass is going to be 1,000. That's going to be a 3,500 signature bond through pre-trial services. I do appreciate the sentiments expressed by Ms. Statement, but it's going to be no further contact with Giovanna's statement. Mr. Sullivan is going to complete a 8-week anger management program while he's out on a signature bond. He is to have no further contact, and he may have a third-party transfer of the child that he shares with misstatement, but it can only be done through a neutral third party and not by misstatement. So however, you all have made arrangements to do a third party, the transfer of the child, you have to do so through a third party, a neutral third party. In the alternative, Mr. Sullivan can always file a legitimation action with the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish visitation, custody, and child support. As I said, well, once he, Mr. Crombie, is your client's address Hollywood Road? So is that his current address?
Your Honor, I do not believe that's his current address.
All right. Within 30 days of being released, Mr. Sullivan or his attorney will update the court clerk's office with his current mailing address so that we can send him his notice of when to show up in court. Mr. Crombie, you might also want to make sure your entry of appearance is filed so you will get the appropriate notices.
Yes,
No illegal drugs, no alcohol consumption, no weapons, and no firearms. And after he has completed the 8-week anger management classes at his expense, he may then petition the court to amend to no further violent contact if the situation warrants it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I be excused?
Yes, Mr. Crombie, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Per judge.
Yes, sir. Okay, position Courtroom 2 is position 5, right?
Position number 5, Judge.
Thank you. This is Raheem Conley, is that correct?
Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Conley, your case is 22 CR 0051908. You've got 2 counts of battery against you from an August 1st, 2022 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Maureen McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Sorry?
This is 12th arrest. Last was 2020. Simple battery. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. He got open ag assault, shooting at, possession of a knife or firearm during the commission, possession of a firearm by convicted felon. It's 21 SC 178070. Open criminal damage to property. 22 SC 181526.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. The case that we have here, it looks like the defendant was booked in on August 3rd, just to clarify this for the record. So he has only been in jail for 2 days, well, yesterday and today at this point. He's currently held on a total $64,000 surety bond. That's because on that case that pretrial cited the aggravated assault, possession of a firearm firearm by a convicted felon. He actually was indicted on that case and then had his bond revoked because of his failure to appear. So he's currently in on a $60,000 surety bond on that case and a $4,000 surety bond on our case. Our case involves this defendant. Essentially, there was a disturbance that was called out at the location of 247 Moreland Avenue. Once officers arrived, they saw two separate groups over there at the Texaco gas station parking lot, some of whom looked like security guards, and then another party of about 10 people. We were able to get the police report to get a little bit more detail on what happened here. So essentially, what happened was they talked to the security supervisor, who stated that they were private security and there were individuals at the location who were pepper sprayed. Initially, Mr. Conley, the defendant, who was one of the security guards, stated he had sprayed two people because they had pulled guns. However, when they started to talk to the multiple security guards at the location, the stories continued to change and there were inconsistencies. Mr. Conley stated that they had grabbed guns, but then stated he did not. But another security supervisor, Patrick Lucky, stated he didn't see anybody point a gun at him or anyone else. The victims, Mr. Rory Sims and Quinvarius Sims, that is Rory for Rory, Sims common spelling. Quinvarius is Quinvarius, had been pepper sprayed. Their eyes were swollen and red. They had to retrieve water to help wash out their eyes. And they stated that the security guards, they thought they were initially police officers. They were standing over at the side of the Texaco when the individual, the defendant, jumped out, ordered them onto the ground, and then someone in the group started shouting they were not police and that they were getting robbed. And at that point, Mr. Rory Sims stated that they began getting up and security then just pepper sprayed them. And so that is what led to the defendant, Mr. Conley's arrest. Quite frankly, Your Honor, and I say this, you know, in all honesty, I don't know how this gentleman's a security guard. I honestly don't. His history is atrocious. We are looking at going through his history. We not only have this case that he's currently being held on a rearrest for, that 21 SC case. We also have a 2018 aggravated assault, a 2020 criminal damage to property in the second degree. We have a robbery case that he was convicted of, robbery, criminal attempt to commit a felony. He was given 3 years probation and has subsequently had, and that was in 2015, and has subsequently had 3 probation violations. He also has some FTAs from 2014, and giving false name, carrying without a weapon without a license in 2011. I honestly don't know how they gave this man a job as a security guard, being that he has quite a violent history. We are asking, there is currently a $4,000 surety bond on this case. We are asking that it be remain as set, $2,000 on each victim. Each Mr. Sims, we are asking that he stay away from 247 Moreland Avenue Northeast, no further contact with Quinvarius and Rory Sims, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Again, the defendant is currently on that $55,000 surety bond, so this will just continue to hold him until he is addressed by Superior Court.
All right, thank you. Ms. McClellan?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 29 years old. He is a native of Atlanta, and as the prosecution pointed out, he was actually at work. He was on his job. He works as a security guard and has worked as a security guard for some time. It was in the course of his work as a security guard that this incident happened. It seems like the two gentlemen in question were causing a disturbance at the gas station, and his encounter, not just him, he and other security guards who were there encountered these gentlemen and were simply trying to detain them for the police to come and get them, Your Honor. And this is what happened. These are strangers to him. These are not people that he knew. It was just something that happened during the course of him executing his job. He tells me that based on all of this, he had a bond on his previous case, which has been revoked. He, of course, cannot go back to work right now. He simply is not in a position to pay any kind of high bond, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting his bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's going to be $1,000 on each count. There's a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from the, I guess, the Shell gas station at was it 247 or 297 Moreland Avenue? Which one was
Your
it?
Honor, that was 247 Moreland Avenue, and it's the Texaco gas station.
Texaco, okay.
Yes,
Texaco.
and Your Honor, I just wanted to say, I did try to contact the witness, his supervisor, Mr. Lucky, but I was unable to.
All right,
I was
well,
hoping he
hopefully
would
you
be able
can
to
reach
come
him.
on.
You can reach him by August 11th. That's his next court date.
Thank you.
August 18th, excuse me, August 18th, which is his next court date at 9 a.m. It's a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with Rory and Quinbarius Sims. Stay away from the Texaco gas station, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. Firearms is self-explanatory. No weapons includes, and it's not limited to tasers, pepper sprays, any kind of sharp instrument, including knives and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we include batons on that, Your Honor?
Sure, batons too. Like I said, it's an exhaustive list. Okay, thank you.
Fletcher. Judge position 6 is next.
Johnny Fletcher IV, case number 22 CR 005191F. Are you Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, ma'am.
You have been accused of battery domestic violence from August 3rd, 2022. Your case number is, as I said, ends in 5191F. And you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Tucson, I see this is a first offense, or what are we talking about?
It's not first.
Well, then it must be
Definitely not a first offense.
Yeah,
Is Miss Vanessa Fletcher in the courtroom as well? This is a cross defendant case.
Their spouses, Your Honor.
No, she's
I
not.
don't think she's in courtroom 2.
Okay,
So-
then we'll just address number 6, but I just wanted to let the court know, and I didn't mean to interrupt pretrial, so I know they have to let you know his history.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tucson?
Your Honor, she's at South Annex. Miss Fletcher, position 7 is at South Annex.
All right, we'll address that soon. Thank you.
I put first by there, my bad. This is 10th arrest. Last was 2019 probation out of Dorville. 2014 failed to appear for battery DV, cruelty to children. FTA was not prosecuted. He got a 2013 simple battery DV, dismissed. He got probation for ag assault, false imprisonment, robbery. This was from a 2009 case. That's 09SC 81284. That's all the violence he has.
Thank you.
Conviction-wise. All right.
Okay, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on August 3rd, 2022. It's 262 Amal Drive Southwest. It involved Miss Vanessa Fletcher, who is on this calendar as well. When the officers responded there, it was stated that these individuals were fighting one another. Both of them had visible injuries, and it was stated that the defendant, Mr. Fletcher, had choked and punched Miss Vanessa Fletcher during the altercation. So we do have some serious concerns here with these two remaining in contact with one another. Quite frankly, had we been able to do a strangulation assessment on Miss Fletcher, but for the fact that she was in jail as well, this case would have probably been transferred up as an aggravated assault due to the allegation of choking in the warrant. So we are asking for a $5,000 surety bond. We are further asking for stay away order from the location over at excuse me, over at 262 Amal Drive Southwest. We are asking for no further contact with Vanessa Fletcher, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are further requesting one-day anger awareness. This defendant does have a history involving simple batteries in 2013, simple battery arrests in 2013, 2005. He has 2 FTAs in 2014, a probation violation in 2019. And as Your Honor heard, that 2009 aggravated assault, false imprisonment, battery, and robbery case where he just got off probation in 2019. So we do have some serious concerns about the violent history here, and that this defendant is a high risk of reoffense and a high likelihood of influencing the witness, his wife, Ms. Fletcher. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 34 years old. He and Miss Vanessa Fletcher have been married for 9 years, and they do share some minor children together. He says they got into an argument which, as the prosecutor said, got physical, but he maintains that he was not the primary aggressor here, Your Honor, and he was simply defending himself. Naturally, he regrets what happened because, as I said, they have been married for 9 years and they really don't have a history of this kind of behavior happening, Your Honor. So it's not a pattern or practice. Yes, he had some history, but it is fairly remote. I would say more than 10 years ago, that this history, and the court should take that into consideration. He was much younger at the time. He is older now. He does have children now, and they are married. I asked my client, and he does say if the court orders a stay away, that he can find somewhere else to go, but he would prefer a no further violent contact.
All right.
He is employed, Your Honor.
All right, sounds good. Where is he employed?
He works as a custodian for a company that provides custodian services to companies like FedEx, he tells me. And he's been doing that for 9 years or so. He tells me that he only has an 11th grade education, Your Honor, but he wants to get his GED at some point in time.
All right, for some reason, let me see. Miss Vanessa's case, I don't know whether they got the documents mixed up, but I don't have her warrant in her case. Is her warrant filed under Mr. Fletcher's case? There had been a...
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Let me go back and look at Vanessa Fletcher's case in our system and our side of the system and see if we can see that. I will just point out, and I missed this in my recitation, that Miss Kanaya Brown, the step daughter.
I saw
of
that, an alleged witness, yeah.
Right. Which also concerns us that a child had to essentially get involved and break up a fight between 2 adults. My system is taking just a moment, but let me pull this up. Yep, we have the warrant for Vanessa Fletcher here. Would you like me to send it to
just go ahead and read it.
Bridgewater?
Go ahead and read it.
The warrant for Miss Vanessa Fletcher states that on August 3rd, 2022, she intentionally punched her husband, Johnny Fletcher, in the face and spit on him during a verbal altercation. He sustained bleeding to his mouth from being punched, and some of his dreads were pulled out. Mr. Fletcher also has a cut to the forehead, which he stated his stepdaughter, Kanaya Brown, threw something at his head while trying to break up the altercation with her mom, Miss Fletcher. They lived together at 262 Amal Drive. I did not have any independent witnesses to this incident.
Okay, thank you. With regards to Johnny Fletcher, his bond is going to be set at 2,500, and that's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Vanessa Fletcher. He's going to be required to move out of the Amal Drive location. His next court date is going to be August 18th. No further contact with Vanessa Fletcher and Kiana Brown.
Yes, Your Honor, that's spelled Kaniya.
Okay.
Your Honor, may he have a one-time police escort to get his things? And also, my understanding is that there are shared children, shared minor children, and that there can be third-party exchange with those children.
All right. He is permitted to return to the marital home one time only with a police officer. So one-time visit with a law enforcement officer to retrieve his personal belongings. With the exception of Kiana Brown, he may be permitted a third-party transfer to see the other minor children. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And we will see him on August 18th. Thank you. Now, if he makes bond, then once he's released, he has 30 days to update the court with his new address. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
South Annex, do we have Miss Fletcher there?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we are addressing Miss Vanessa Renee Fletcher, case number 22 CR 0051928. She's accused of battery, domestic violence with regards to Johnny Fletcher, the case we just arrested. This announcement's for everyone at the South Annex. If you have been accused of a crime, please remember that you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything that you say during the course of our virtual recorded proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, you will be represented by the attorney who has been in consultation with you and discussing the case with you, which will be from the Public Defender's Office or the Conflict Defense List. Ms. Fletcher has been accused of battery, domestic violence, August 3rd, 2022. Any priors on Ms. Fletcher?
11 total between Georgia and Florida. Our last arrest was 2020 for shoplifting. It was dismissed. 2015 felony obstruction, felony terroristic threats. She has a disorderly conduct conviction out of that arrest. So I guess it was a minute to that. She had a 05 domestic battery conviction out of Florida.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, we actually showed 3 out of Florida, a 2002 felony battery, a 2003 domestic battery that was sealed, and then a 2005 domestic battery. And then several probation violations from 2003 to 2005 in Florida. So this defendant's history is somewhat more remote, especially when it concerns the family violence cases. I have already put on the record what this defendant is alleged to have done, which is essentially punched Mr. Fletcher and pulled out his dreads. The state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Johnny Fletcher. We are not asking for a stay away, as our intentions were to leave Miss Fletcher at the location of a mall drive. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Okay, Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Vanessa Fletcher is 37 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 12 years. She has been married for 9 years. She shares 4 minor children with the complaining with the cross defendant, Your Honor, ages 1, 6, 7, and 15. Ms. Fletcher completed high school. She also has 1 year of college. She studied healthcare business administration. At this time, Your Honor, Ms. Fletcher is disabled and has been so for a period of time. She more so is a stay-at-home mom. She denies the allegations specifically denies being the primary aggressor. As we heard, my client had injuries around her neck. I do acknowledge my client's history. However, the battery offenses are quite remote, Your Honor. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond. She is recommended based on the report that I received, Your Honor, and we are opposed to the no contact order. My client does want contact. However, we will defer to the court's ruling in light of Your Honor's prior ruling. Thank you.
$5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with Johnny Fletcher before. He will be permitted to come to the house one time only with a police officer, but after that, you're both to stay 200 yards away from each other and not communicate with each other through in person, through a third party, through with the exception of the transfer of the minor children, not Kiana Brown. You're not to communicate with each other through social media, and if there are any future, if you violate the no contact, and the authorities find out, you could end up losing your $5,000 signature bond and have to pay either a surety bond, a cash bond, or be in a no bond status. You may return to the marital home at Amal Drive, and you'll report to pretrial once a month. You will also undertake a 8-week anger management program at your expense, and you're to commence those classes within 60 days of being released.
And
No
yes, sir, if I
alcohol,
may-
sorry, no alcohol, no illegal drugs, and no weapons and no firearms. Yes, Ms. Gant?
I do have serious concerns about my client's ability to pay for that, Your Honor. I would ask instead that Your Honor grant a 1-day anger management.
Given the history and the allegations set forth, I don't think that's going to do anything. She has 60 days to save and be prepared for those classes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Judge, position 8 is next.
Thank you. I have Elias Lee Glass accused of theft by taking. Case number 22 CR 005193B. Alleged incident date is from August 3rd, 2022. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Toussaint? I'm sorry?
First arrest.
First arrest, okay. Ms. Falk? Is it Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
my apologies, I was still muted. The state's recommendation on this case, Your Honor, is a $3,000 signature bond, stay away from Hertz at 4210 Global Gateway, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Defendant took $95 worth of fuel from Hertz LLC. I believe he was an employee at the time of that incident, and he did so without their permission. And then he filled up and attempted to pull off. And that is all.
Okay. $3,000 signature bond through the jail. And Mr. Glass, once you've made your bond, please make sure that you update the court with your current address, because we will send you notice through the mail to your address as to your next court date. If you fail to show up, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest. You are also to stay away from the Hertz offices located at the airport gateway. I'm assuming that's the Hertz office at the airport, Hartsfield Airport location. All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, position 12 is next. Come on.
State versus William Chevery Robinson, care charged with criminal trespass and damage to property from August 3rd, 2022. Case number 22 CR 005197E. Mr. Robinson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any prize?
6 total. You got an open case in Superior Court, 20 CP 193673. I got armed robbery, bus or rail hijacking, interference with government property, ag assault with intent to rob, bus and rail passenger safety act. These out on pretrial, I think, for the interference. Got history out of Florida as well. I see drug charges though. That's it.
All right, thank you.
2019 petty theft out of Florida. Everything else is drug.
All right. And Ms. Duncan?
Yes, just to clarify what preacher was saying on that 20 CP 193673
Yes.
open case in Superior, he is currently out on a $15,000 surety bond.
All right, thank you.
This case, the incident occurred on yesterday at 683 Boulevard Northeast in Atlanta. The defendant is charged with having thrown a brick through the drive-through window at Popeyes located at that location and damaging that drive-through window. We here have a concern about the risk of reoffense. We did see a prior criminal trespass arrest in 2020. For those reasons, Your Honor, the state is going to be requesting a $1,000 surety. In addition, due to the open case, a stay away from that incident location, one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Robinson is 35 years old and he has been here in Georgia ever since 2016. So it's been about 6 years he's been here. He has been self-employed with different projects and he graduated from high school. And he also did 1 year of college in Florida for mechanical engineering. However, he decided to pursue music and he realized that he didn't need to have a college degree to pursue music career. At this point, he's going through financial hardships. So currently he's residentially challenged. So we are connecting him to a social worker services visit so that he can get some housing resources. And also he is recommended for behavioral health evaluation test that social worker services can provide as well. Thank you.
$3,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Popeyes restaurant. And that's going to be a 200-yard stay away. So he'll have to stay away from the entire intersection on Boulevard. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Next court date is August 18.
Was it $1,000, Your Honor?
3,000.
Surety bond?
Yes.
And that's surety, correct, Your Honor?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson, it's a $3,000 good bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Your Honor, we have position number 9, Mr. Griffin.
All right, we're moving back. It's 9. Okay. Mr. Javian Griffin is accused of expired tag on registered vehicle, driving while license suspended, and no insurance. Normally I see this in traffic court, but I guess they are arrestable offenses. Case number 22 CR 005194D from August 3rd, 2022. Mr. Griffin, you've been accused of, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Wondergant. Any priors, Mr. Tucson? Actually, do you have his motor vehicle report by any chance?
State probably got it though.
We do.
All right, may I have that one, please?
So his motor vehicle history is mainly out of Michigan. He apparently has 21 cycles out of Michigan. This is his first arrest here in Georgia. So his motor vehicle history out of Michigan, I just needed a moment to pull that up, is quite extensive. He has, it goes back to 2007. The most recent offenses are, let's see, driver convictions in 2019, driving while suspended license, February 2019, January 2019, driving while suspended license, December of 2018, driving while suspended license, November of 2018, failed to display a valid license, October of 2018, failed to appear in court, April of 2018, failed to appear in court, February of 2018, failed to display a valid license, January of 2018, failed to appear in court.
That's good, thank you.
So mainly it's failure to display a valid license.
All right.
This defendant is actually currently being held on a, I believe it is a bond in the amount of, give me a moment, the breakdown on this was kind of a little different. It was a $1,700 surety bond, $1,000 for the suspended license, $500 for the no insurance, $200 for the expired tag. State's recommendation is a split bond of $1,700, $1,000 on the suspended license as a surety bond, $500 on the no insurance as a signature bond, $200 on the expired tag as a signature bond. The state would also ask recommend that this defendant not drive without a valid tag, valid insurance, and a valid license. And that is the state's recommendation. This incident location was Northside Drive, and the defendant's tag was first noticed to be not up to date, and then it went from there.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Javian Griffin is 32 years old. He is a resident of Michigan. However, he does have ties to the Atlanta, Georgia area. He has been coming back and forth to Atlanta since 1999. He has a pregnant fiance here. She is 4 months pregnant. He also has 2 children, Your Honor, 2 additional children, ages 8 and 13. He has family in Georgia. Therefore, again, we'd like to emphasize that he has significant community ties. Mr. Griffin completed high school. He also is about 1 semester away from earning a degree in, well, he states that at this time he's in international healing, the School of Indigenous Remedies, but he is 1 semester away from obtaining a degree in business administration. Your Honor, he is currently employed at JC&W. That is a family-owned business, and that business conducts business with Georgia as well, Your Honor. He denies the allegations. He informs me that this is a rental car, Your Honor, and we will certainly have more evidence to present to defend against these allegations. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Griffin's behalf, Your Honor, and if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then we would, of course, request a split bond, signatures for the expired tag and no insurance, and for driving while license suspended, a bond of no more than $100. Thank you.
Your Honor, and I just have to say, I'm not sure what his driving while license suspended has to do with this being a rental car, but
I think that was my question, so.
Oh, okay.
On the driving while license suspended, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. On the no insurance, that's going to be a $500 surety bond. And the expired tag, that's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail. Total bond is $3,000. It is a split bond. Needless to say, no driving unless Mr. Griffin has a valid current driver's license. I don't care from which state of the United States, but it's got to be current and it's got to be valid. And any vehicle that he operates must have current valid insurance. Either he procures it himself or he procures it from the rental company if he chooses to rent a car. And it must have current registration. So before he starts a car, he might want to check and make sure that it's duly registered with the appropriate county. Next court date is August 18th.
Your Honor, just going over that breakdown one more time, I have $2,000 surety for the driving while license suspended, $500 surety for the no insurance, and $500 signature for the tag.
Correct.
Okay.
Hey, Judge,
Mr. Griffin, please remain silent. If you have any questions about your bond, I will give you a call. We don't want you to say anything to negatively impact your case.
No, I'm not gonna say anything to negatively impact my case.
Mr. Griffin, I don't want you to speak. I don't want you to speak, Mr. Griffin.
The only reason we brought up the rental car is—
Mr. Griffin, please remain silent. We will defend this case. We will defend against this case, Your Honor.
Well, Judge, can I ask at least for a bond reduction due to I need to get back to work so I can pay if able to?
Mr. Griffin, I would love to give you a signature bond, but as you've already heard your motor vehicle record, you have a significant history of blatantly operating motor vehicles without a valid driver's license. And hence you do not qualify for a reduced, and you definitely do not qualify for a signature bond.
Okay, ma'am, is there any other option I could?
I've already explained to you.
I've
already explained to you. There is no other option other than if you want, I can change it to a cash bond and you can pay cash and you can then come back to court when summoned.
No, I just want to go through a bail bondsman if I can.
Mr. Griffin, I will
Go
contact
through a
your
surety
sister,
company.
okay? I'll contact your sister. I'll contact the person that you asked me to.
All right, good luck. Just remember your bond restrictions.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 18, Mr. Turner, position number 18.
Jamil, is that correct? Turner, is that you, Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Turner, your case is 22 CR 005-203D, accused of simple battery domestic violence from July 28, 2022. Mr. Turner, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson?
15 total. Last arrest was 2017 FTA. It was NOD. 2017 probation out of Cobb. 2016 FTA ag assault. The failure to appear was not prosecuted. He got a DUI conviction 2016. Simple battery that was dismissed in 2016. The FTA for ag assault was with that arrest as well. 2015 DUI conviction. 2012 ag assault. More probation violations. That's it.
Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on July 28, 2022. Officers responded to the location of 5672 Sable Way in reference to a physical altercation. When they arrived, they met with the victim, in this case, Mia Hardy, M-I-A, Hardy, common spelling. Ms. Hardy is a parent of the same child of the accused in this case. She indicated to officers that her children's father asked her to come over to see his children. And while he was upstairs seeing his children, his phone began to ring, and she had asked him if it was okay for her to answer the phone. And according to the warrant, once she asked that, once his phone began ringing, he slapped her on the left side of her face and then exited the home. We have a concern about the risk of reoffense. In this case, Your Honor, they do share children, as I stated before, and we have somewhat of a concern about intimidation in this case, as well as this defendant being a flight risk concern due to the FTAs and probation violations. And this defendant does have a violent conviction within the 10-year period. So the state is going to be requesting a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim in this case, third-party child contact, a stay away from the incident location of 5672 Sable Way, one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Turner is 34 years old, and he has his own house that he has paid for. So he does not object to the stay away from 5672 Sable Way. It is totally okay with him. And also he's not opposing to stay away from or no further contact from Mia Hardy, as long as he can meet his child. They have one child together, 3 years old. As long as he has a third-party visitors transfer, that he would be okay. He has been here in Georgia for 34 years. And he also has 2 other children, so total of 3 children. And he has all his family members, direct family members here in Georgia. He has a job. He's gainfully employed as a truck driver, delivery, and he has been doing that for about 2 years. And he graduated from high school as well. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $500 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bond is set at $1,000 and it's a surety bond. Next court date is August 18th. No further contact with Mia Hardy. Stay away from 5672 Sable Way in Atlanta, Georgia. If he wishes to have visitation and or custody with the minor child, he shall file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish visitation and custody. Otherwise, he's to have no contact with Ms. Hardy and the child in question. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. And like if he makes bond, he is to make sure that he reports to court when we send him his next court date. And I'm assuming it's Wexford something?
Yes,
Is that
Your
his
Honor.
current address?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, repeat that bond amount again?
1,000, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, we got position number 10, Mr. Mark Jones.
Okay. Mr. Mark Jones, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a case number 22 CR 005-195J, accused of forgery in the 4th degree from an August 3rd, 2022 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
The open case out of Putnam County. Trespass, family violence. Yeah, that's from April 2021. You got 6 total arrests. Before that arrest was in 1997 though, for drugs, first offender.
That's good then. Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred on August the 2nd. Officers responded to 2280 Cascade Road Southwest, which is a Wells Fargo bank. Now, the circumstances surrounding this case are a bit interesting. In this case, the defendant was, the police were dispatched on a kidnap call because the defendant indicated to the tellers at the Wells Fargo that he may need some help and he may have been in fear for his life. So once officers responded, they were able to get more information out of the defendant. In this case, it's indicated that from the police report, the defendant, along with several other individuals, went to a string of banks, some not in the Fulton County area, and cashed several checks that belonged to Dennis and Doris Turner. Dennis is common spelling and Doris is D-O-R-I-S. Turner is common spelling in varying amounts. And in this particular Cascade location, the defendant attempted to cash a check for $866.77, and it was, of course, rejected. Your Honor, in this case, the state is going to be requesting a $2,000 surety bond and stay away from that Cascade location. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law, as well as a theft class.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 52 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He was educated up to the level of a junior in college, Your Honor. And for some time, he had been gainfully employed, but he tells me that he's currently homeless. He's having some significant mental health issues, Your Honor. Mm-hmm. He tells me that he was essentially coerced by some people that he met at a bus station to try to cash some checks for him. He felt, to a certain extent, under duress. He needs some help, Your Honor, and is requesting some help from the court for his mental health issues. Your Honor, so I would request a mental health evaluation for my client.
Right.
And Your Honor, if I may clarify, my apologies, I left this out of my recitation. The facts were a bit all over the place.
I've read the warrants, so I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to state that he did eventually tell officers that he just wanted to make some money and he wasn't under.
I did see that part, yes.
And he's also homeless now, Your Honor.
Understood. So he doesn't live at Peters Road anymore, is that correct?
No, Your Honor, he is homeless and he needs some help.
Understood. Bond's going to be set at $2,000. It is a surety bond. Next court date is August 18. Ms. McLeod, you would need to get with Mr. Derek Howard and get a social worker to evaluate him, and also obtain the necessary MH evaluation documents to get signed off so that the process may begin. His next court date is August 18.
Your Honor, do you have contact information? for
Oh,
Mr.
he just
Howard?
popped up on the screen. There he
Yes.
is.
Yes, Ms. McLeod, I did email you those documents previously for a different case. Did you ever get those?
I probably
I can
did.
resend it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can resend it.
Okay, could you
Yeah,
resend
that
it?
would be fine.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Oh, in addition to the $2,000 surety bond, he's to stay away from all Wells Fargo banks, not just the one on Cascade Road. All right, Mr. Jones, you cannot return to any Wells Fargo banks.
And just
Thank
to
you.
clarify, my apologies, Your Honor. Just to clarify, the MHET, is that a part of your order or is that suggested?
The MHET is going to be subject to a social worker evaluation and Ms. McLeod providing, I'm granting one. And so now it's up to you, Ms. McLeod, to make sure you submit the appropriate paperwork.
I will do that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Courtroom 2.
Y'all, this is position number 11, Mr. Kemp.
All right, thank you. We have Brendan Kemp. Case number 22 CR 005-196C. Mr. Kemp, you've been accused of criminal trespass from June 23rd, 2021. You have the right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. And any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Total,
Repeat?
15 total.
Okay. Any trespass recently? Convictions or anything to that effect?
Oh, but he got shoplifting, probation violations and obstructions. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred on June 23rd, 2021 at 2200 Godby Road in College Park, Fulton County. In this incident, officers responded to a call of vandalism. When officers got to the scene, they made contact with the victim, in this case, Miss Effie Kemp. That's E-F-F-I-E Kemp, K-E-M-P, who is the mother of the defendant. She advised officers that earlier in that day, she had gotten into a heated argument with her son about car payments. And when she said that she would not be paying that car payment, she didn't think anything of it. She went on about her day. And when she came back home from running errands, she noted to officers that she did witness her son leaving her home before she went into the home. And once inside the home, she saw broken things all around her home, from the living room to the kitchen, broken glass, overturned tables and things like that in the home. And she said to the officers that at that time that this defendant does have a history of doing things like this. Last time that there was more damage, and she indicated that there were several things broken in her home at that time. So we have a concern in this case about the risk of reoffense. Given the statements made by the victim in this case, we're going to request a $1,000 surety, no further contact. We tried to make contact. It's notated that we were not able to make contact. So in that instance, we're going to ask for no further contact. Now stay away from that location. She did indicate that he does not live with her. So stay away, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kemp is 31 years old, and this happened about 1 year and 1 month ago. So 13 months ago, he was actually traveling to Florida. He tried to get a job there, but didn't work out well. So he came over here. He's back to Georgia. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He lived here almost 30 years, and he has been trying to get a job for the last few weeks. He does not have a job at this point, Your Honor. He has 2 minor children that he has been supporting financially, child support, 12 years old and 10 years. And right now he resides with his brother. So he has no objection to stay away. He has no objection to no further contact either. And yet he prefers to have a contact with his own mother. And I read the warrant and it's really, from my perspective, those personal belongings, that's all it said. It does not specifically specify which item was actually broken. I believe the warrant is kind of deficient in that sense. We would like to request for signature on bond for this very old matter, which my client denies the allegations, and we would like to get the signature on bond for this. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. It's $1,000 surety bond. Next court date's August 18th. No contact with F.E. Kemp, and to stay away from 2200 Godby Road. On August 18th, if we have evidence that Mr. Kemp was otherwise in Florida at the time of the alleged incident, I'll be certainly glad to revise the bond.
Thank you.
Yeah, position number 13, Mr. Samps. Position number 13.
I have Jonathan Samps accused of criminal trespass, domestic violence from August 3rd, 2022, case number 22 CR 005-198J. Mr. Samps, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors?
No, he's 18.
All right. And Ms. Duncan?
Your Honor, in this case, the state is going to be requesting a $3,000 signature bond through pre-trial. No further violent contact. Let's stay away. We'll defer. I'm sorry. No, my apologies. No further contact. I'm sorry. Let's stay away. No alcohol, drugs, weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. In this case, Your Honor, the victim is Shauna Sullivan, SHUNNA Sullivan, common spelling. The incident location is alleged to have occurred at 3369 Villa Circle Southeast. Officers responded to a call that was made by the victim in this case. She said that her 18-year-old son was refusing to leave the location and that he had become disrespectful with her and she wanted him to leave. He refused to leave after being told to do so by the police department and by herself individually. She did state that he lives elsewhere. Given the relationship between the parties, we do have some concern about the intimidation of this witness. And that's going to be the state's recommendation in this case, nothing further.
All right. And Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Samps is 18 years old, actually. He is still going to high school. He's going to be a rising 12th grade, final year to graduate from high school. He dreams to play football at NFL someday, but that's kind of a little too much. But even though he cannot make it that far, he still want to play football. He has a job with his uncle. He works for his uncle to get side job to make extra cash. I spoke with his mother, and his mother is not objecting to have him back home. She wants him back home, and she wants to have a contact with him. So we would like to request for no further violent contact, and we do not have any objection to signature on bond. Thank you, Your Honor. That's it.
So he's living with his uncle?
He's residing with his mother, Your Honor.
I've got that he moved out to 4120 Murray Lake Circle.
That's where he resides right now, 4120 Murray Lake Circle.
Right. And with whom does he live?
Uncle? Yes.
All right. Do we have the uncle's name?
Oh, no, I didn't get the uncle's name. I only have mother's.
All right. Mr. Samps, what is your uncle's name? I'm sorry, you need to unmute.
Don't talk. Just talk. Sit back and talk. Just talk.
His name is Quan Howard.
Arnold?
Quan Howard.
Speak loudly.
Quan Howard?
Quan Howard.
Quan.
Not like I said Quan.
Yes, Quan Howard.
Q-U-A-N?
Yeah.
Quan what?
Howard.
Howard. Quan, is that correct?
Yes,
And last name is Howard.
yes,
And he resides at 4120 Murray Lake Circle in Forest Park, Georgia.
yes,
And are you residing there right now?
yes, I am.
All right. Your bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. I need Uncle Howard, first name Quan, to come and co-sign your bond. And once he co-signs your bond, you may continue to reside with him in Forest Park. You're not to return to 3369 Villa Circle, Southeast Atlanta, until further order of the court. Since you moved out, I guess about a month ago, all your personal belongings should already have been removed, correct?
Yes.
I didn't have, none of my clothes.
Repeat.
I didn't have most of my clothes. I need to get some more clothes.
So you may return one time only to the Villa Circle location, but you must do so in the company of a police officer. Your visit cannot exceed 2 hours, and the police officer must be present while you remove your belongings so that you may return to Uncle Howard's home. You are to have no contact with Shauna Sullivan until further order of the court. You're not to contact her, communicate with her, or not to be within 200 yards of her until further order of the court. If you violate these conditions, you will be arrested and brought back to jail, and your bond could be revoked. If you plan to embark on a very ambitious career of being an NFL football player, you might want to work very, very hard with your attorney to resolve this, because criminal trespass, family violence never looks good on your record. Understood?
He promised he will never come back here. I mean, except the court hearing, he will not gonna be in the jail anymore.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Are you waiving?
I need to make sure Uncle Howard lives where this address is, so no, I'm not waiving.
Okay.
Make sure that Mr. Quan Howard brings a utility bill that
Valid ID.
shows, and his ID. The utility bill should reflect the address and his name, or his spouse's name, whoever else lives in that house. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim, you can tell Mr. Howard that a phone bill would work too, as long as it's got his
Sure.
name and the address, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Next, we have position number 14, Mr. Travis Shelton.
Travis Devon Shelton is case 22 CR 005-199C. Mr. Shelton's been accused of loitering and prowling on August 3rd, 2022. Mr. Shelton, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
46 total.
Okay.
Last arrest was in June for terrorist threats out of Clayton County. Hold on. Yeah. Before that was 2016 probation out of Henry County. 2016 suspended license, no low. DUI.
Any theft or burglary, robbery matters,
Let's see.
or trespass?
He got some entering autos and parole violations. Entering auto from 2011. 2011 theft by receiving. Got more entering autos. Let me go to Florida real quick. I'm in Ohio. Last arrest in Ohio was in April. Paid to appear. Domestic violence and assault from March of this year. February this year, domestic violence, disorderly conduct. 2021 trespass out of Ohio. 2021 assault, domestic violence conviction. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Unless you want the Florida history.
No, that's good. Thank you. This is a loitering and prowling charge. Ms. Duncan?
In addition, Your Honor, I did see a 2015 criminal trespass. In this case, the state is going to be requesting that the bond remain as set at, I believe it's $2,500 surety. This incident occurred, in the area near, 1583 Ellaby Road. Ellaby is Elleby Road in Atlanta. There are two victims in this case, in particular, Crystal Robinson and Amy Jones. Crystal Robinson is common spelling. Amy is Aimee. Jones, common spelling. In this case, Your Honor, Ms. Robinson resides at 1589 Ellaby Road, and according to her, the defendant in this case was observed walking around her backyard at around 1:32 a.m. and then going into her neighbor's backyard, which is Ms. Jones, located at 1583 Ellaby Road. Ms. Robinson indicated to officers that she observed the defendant messing with her back door and her car door as well. When officers spoke with Ms. Jones, she indicated that she observed the defendant in this case turning her security cameras around and shining lights in the direction of her home. He was banging loudly on the back door, at which point her husband told him to come to the front, but he left the premises without doing so. It is indicated in the police report that this defendant does not live in that area, and that he indicated to officers once apprehended that he was visiting a friend. And then he told officers that he was being chased by someone, and that's why he was messing with the lights and the cameras on these people's houses. We have a concern about the risk of reoffense. We did see a previous criminal trespass as well as those entering auto convictions. So we're concerned that this defendant has some issues with being places where he shouldn't be. We also have a concern for flight risk, given that there are several probation violations within the 10-year period. For those reasons, we're going to request that $2,500 surety. No further contact with the victims in this case. Stay away from both incidents locations, 1583 Ellaby and 1589 Ellaby. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Shelton is 35 years old, and he currently resides with his brother at Jonesboro. He's been here in Georgia for about 10 years. He is not married. He does not have any children. However, he has a niece and nephews and brother, his parents here in Georgia. And also he has his aunt as well. However, he does not have any employment due to his disability. He has been getting Social Security check for the last 6 years, and his education is up to 9th grade. And I am actually asking for social worker services for behavioral health evaluation tests. Even though he's not residentially challenged, he does need some other help. So we would like to clarify that issue. Thank you.
Bonds can be set at 1,500. It's a surety bond. He should stay away from 1583 and 1589 Ellaby Road. He's required to stay 200 yards away from that location in Jonesboro. And no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And I'm granting the process to allow a BHET. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, we have Mr. Wada, position 19.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Shelton's next court date's August 18. Thank you. Position 19, we have
Mr. Wada, Muhammad.
yes, sir.
Being represented by Carrie Hand.
They know, go ahead and say that.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Carey Hand. Oh, all right. Are you private counsel or with?
Yes, for Mr. Wada.
All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Hand. I didn't.
Oh, it's
see-
okay.
All right. Okay, Mr. Muhammad Wada Jr., middle initial D. Is that you, sir?
Yes.
Is case 22 CR 005204E. Mr. Wada has been accused of battery, domestic violence, cruelty in the 3rd degree, 2 counts from an August 2nd, 2022 incident. Mr. Wada, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Carey Hand. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
No, Judge.
All right. And Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred on August the 2nd, 2022 at 1002 Quaker Ridge Way. In this instance, officers were dispatched for a domestic dispute. When officers arrived on scene, they encountered the victim, in this case, Natalie Wada. Natalie, common spelling, last name W-A-D-A, who is the present spouse of the defendant. She stated that she had to officers that she had filed for separation from the defendant in this case on July 28th, 2022, and that the defendant had agreed to move out of their shared residence. However, she stated that on August the 1st, the defendant was there and became angry about the marital situation between the two, and he began a verbal altercation in which she tried to walk away. She was holding their child, who I believe is 3 years old, and while she was trying to walk away, he kept to stop from the escalation of the incident. He kicked her in the back as she walked away from him while she was holding the child, and she stated to officers that she continued to try to walk away while holding the child, and then he additionally punched her in the back. She said that at that time she yelled for her other son, ES, to call 911. However, that child called his grandparent, the grandparents, step-grandparents. And then he stated that he did observe the defendant in this case kick his mom in the back and while holding the child. And she additionally did call 911 after, when she realized that the child had not called 911. She stated that he did kick and punch her, and there were photos taken of the marks that were left on her body, which were red marks indicated on her back. In this case, Your Honor, we do have concerns about the risk of intimidation in this case, given their current status, and the possible risk of offense, given the nature of this incident came from, arguments about separation. So until that's final, we have a concern in this case. We did get a chance to speak to the victim in this case. She stated that they are married, and she has filed for separation. She said that she is not comfortable with a third-party transfer of the children, and she wants no contact and for him to stay away. She said that he will likely need a one-time escort to retrieve his belongings, but however, that is all she's comfortable with. Given the nature of the facts and circumstances surrounding this case and the victim's wishes, we're going to be requesting a $4,500 surety bond total. That's $3,500 on the battery, family violence, and $500 for each count of cruelty to children. In the third, we're going to ask for a stay away from the incident location. No further contact with the victim or the children alleged in this case. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. I just want to state that the second child involved alleged to have witnessed this incident is not the child of the defendant in this case, but the younger child is.
Okay.
Further from the state.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Hand?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Without going into any dispute over the allegations in this case, we would simply point out again that Mr. Wada has no prior record. This is the first time any incident of this nature has even been reported against him. We think obviously we have no real problem with the bond amount. The main issue we would have would be concerning the no contact at all, with a couple of things to point out. First of all, Mr. Wada doesn't need to live at home with his wife. His family lives here. They're perfectly willing for him to move in immediately with him or with them. So there's no need for him to be at the home, no issues there. We have not, or at least I haven't been told, and his parents haven't been told of any separation agreement. If one has been filed, we've not been made aware of it. I would ask that the bond be no violent contact, and he'll agree to stay away from the house as well, to reduce the chances of any violent contact. But given that there's a separation possibly pending, I don't believe personally that it ever furthers anyone's cause that they not be able to have some kind of contact. Ms. Wada, to my knowledge, has not worked in nearly 9 years. She depends upon Mr. Wada and his family for support. I think we create all kinds of issues with, again, with possible intimidation. If we just say he can't have any contact, and that limits her ability to talk to his family's ability to talk to her, and no problems are ever going to get solved. And finally, I would also point out that this incident, part of their problems have related in the past to marijuana usage from Mr. Wada. He's currently set up to go into an inpatient treatment program literally today if he gets out. It's a 60-day program, it's inpatient. He's hoping that the marriage can be saved. I would suggest to the court that Ms. Waters filing a separation instead of a divorce would suggest that she has some hope as well. So we would leave that up to your honor as to how to best balance all of those interests.
Okay.
For the sake of the record, Your Honor, the victim is on the line, but she does not wish to speak.
All right, thank you. All right. On the battery domestic violence, that's going to be a $3,500 surety bond. On each count of the cruelty charges, that's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. His total bond is going to be $9,500. It is going to be a split bond. He is going to he's going to report to pretrial services once a month. If he's enrolled, and let me finish the rest first. He's going to report to pretrial once a month. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, including marijuana, no alcohol, and he's not to possess any weapons and no firearms. He's to have no further contact with Miss Natalie Wada and no further contact with the minor identified as ES and the child with whom he shares with Mrs. Wada.
3 children, Your Honor, that he has with her. Sorry.
Well, is the 3rd child on the way?
No, Your Honor, my understanding is that they have more children together. However, these are the 2 children that witnessed the incidents alleged in this case.
All right. Under the current circumstances, I'm going to allow all visitation and joint custody issues to be addressed in a separation or divorce case, whichever is filed. So in the present time, no contact with any of the minor children, no contact with Miss Natalie Wada. He's to stay away from the, did you say it was a Quaker address in Johns Creek?
1002 Quaker Ridge Way.
Okay, he's to stay away from that location. Any support, financial support, and so forth, that's something that Mrs. Wada can address in her separation divorce case. They always have a temporary interim order to set that up. So if this is a matter that's already pending or imminently to be filed, then visitation, custody, and support are all issues that will be addressed in Superior Court. If he enrolls in, if he admits himself into such an inpatient program, then he will complete that program and comply with all treatment and medication that is required. Okay, within 120 days of being released, Mr. Wada will enroll in a 6-month domestic violence intervention program at his expense, and he will attend each of those weekly classes. He will report to pretrial and confirm that he's enrolled and confirm that he's attending those classes to the satisfaction of the school. His next court date will be sent to him at his Bay Hill address. Is that correct?
Is that the one you went? Yes, Your Honor.
All right. His next court date will be sent to his Bay Hill address. And I'm assuming that I will allow contact between Mrs. Wada and the immediate family members of Mr. Muhammad Wada's, like his parents or so forth, so that the grandparents can see the children. But Mr. Muhammad Wada Jr. himself is to stay 200 yards away and only comply with any visitation or custody established by Superior Court.
Okay.
Any questions, Mr. Hand?
No, Your Honor, I think I've got all that down.
All right. Now, if he does make bond, make sure that he watches the mail or someone watches the mail for his next court date. It probably won't be within the next 60 days. So if he completes the program, that's good. But please make sure you file an entry of appearance so you can monitor the court dates as well.
Yes, sir. And actually, I had one further question. I might have missed it, or you might have not said it, but can he have one opportunity to go by his house and pick up clothing and things if he needs to with
Yes.
an officer? Okay.
He's allowed a one-time visit to the marital home with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings.
Okay. I was writing everything. I don't know if you said that and I didn't hear it or just forgot.
No, I probably missed that. I was trying to get through the rest of the material.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Oh, just one
That was
second.
it.
Just 1 second. I see something in the chat. I don't know what it is. Farheen Wada, you said, can I request? I don't know what that, do you want to complete the sentence or the request?
And
Going
then
once,
that's his sister.
Going
right?
twice.
Done, sister.
All right, we're moving on. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Your Honor, is that a 6-month DVIP course that he has? to
Yeah, that
complete?
he has to complete at
Okay.
his expense, and he must enroll in the program within 120 days of being released.
Okay.
Position number 20, right?
Go back to number 1 for the plea.
I will be going back to the plea shortly. I just need to take care of all the other jail cases.
Your Honor, I just want to make sure Ms. Bridgewater has the documents from the plea paperwork that I sent.
I will check.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
I have them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
All right. Ms. Wada wanted to amend it to a no violent contact, but I've just denied it. All right, moving on to Ms. Kim. If Mr. Jonathan Sam's mother wants to testify, she has to wait until I've completed my plea. All right, this is William Trevon Wright, case number 22 CR 005-205F. Mr. Wright's case, in which he's been accused of simple battery domestic violence from August 3rd, 2022. Mr. Wright, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Ms. Kim?
I apologize. I think it is.
Ms. Kim? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Second arrest,
Second arrest? Okay.
2021, given false name. Battery DV, 2 counts. Criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, out of Gwinnett. It's open.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred yesterday at 154 Candlelight Lane Southwest. Officers were dispatched to this location in a reference to a disturbance call. They were met at this location with a juvenile with the initials DB. This juvenile reported that she was actively witnessing her mother's boyfriend beating her. The victim in this case is Ebony Rhodes. Ebony, common spelling E-B-O-N-Y, Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S. Officers also reported that Ms. Rhodes additionally called the police to report that she was being assaulted by her boyfriend. Officers indicated that the defendant in this case also was witnessed by Mr. Isaac Rhodes. He stated to officers that the defendant in this case pushed his mother away from him and threw household items at her around the room. When officers entered the house, they encountered the victim in this case, and they noted that her shirt was ripped, and that there were minor abrasions consistent with defensive wounds. Further into the allegations that relate to the battery in this case, the victim indicated to officers that she and the defendant were wrestling around with one another. The initial caller, DB, the minor in this case, said that she was awakened by a disturbance in the lower level of their home. And when she went to go check on what was going on, she witnessed the defendant in this case on top of her mother, hitting her in her upper body with his hands. And at one point, he did place his hands around her neck. She said that she also witnessed him pick her mother up with his hands and slam her back down as if to throw her on the floor. She did indicate that she saw that her mother was trying to fight back. Given the circumstances in this case, they are in a relationship, Your Honor. We were able to make contact with the victim. They live together, but they don't share any children. Given the circumstances in this case, we do have a concern about intimidation. We do see a 2021 battery family violence out of Gwinnett that had no disposition. I wasn't sure if pretrial stated the disposition for that. I was not able to make contact.
It's still an open case.
Okay. Given that, the state is going to be requesting a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, 1-day anger awareness, and no further violations of Georgia law. So
all right,
that's all from the state, Your Honor.
And does anybody know who are the alleged victims in the Gwinnett case?
I was trying to make contact. I wasn't able to make contact, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We can move on to Ms. Kim, or we can address Ms. Ebony Rhodes. Ms. Rhodes, would you like to contribute to this hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Rhodes, I really don't need to know whether this incident occurred or not, because I already have a warrant with the officer's sworn testimony. Based on his investigation, there's probable cause established for this charge. Now, that doesn't mean that there's enough evidence to convict him, but there's enough evidence to have arrested him. That's what the probable cause means. Now, I just need to know whether you are comfortable having contact with Mr. Wright, or have him at the place, or have contact between you and your children.
Yes, I'm very comfortable. Actually, Mr. Wright has been much of a support to me. I was recently diagnosed about a month ago with stage 3 breast cancer, and I've been out of work, and he's been the one who kind of supports me and stuff like that. So yes, I'm very comfortable with having contact with him, and my children are as well. It was just a heat of the moment situation.
I just wanted to state, Your Honor, if I may, earlier today, she did speak with our victim advocate, and she did say that she did not want any contact. So given the change in circumstances, the state will request that its request remain as stated.
When I spoke with her, she said that I speak with the judge or something like that about a nonviolent contact or something like that.
Ms. Rhodes, how many children live in the house?
I have a total of 4, but only 2 are at home.
And did both of them witness this alleged incident?
When the altercation started, they were not there, but they did come and try to intervene and tell us to calm down and stuff like that or whatever. And I was telling them, like, get out the way, let us adults talk about this and handle this. But being who teenagers are, and my daughter kept saying, Mom, you just had surgery today on breast cancer. You don't need to be arguing and stuff like that. But I was requesting because Mr.
And are you
Mr.
aware
Wright,
that he's got a domestic violence case open in Gwinnett County?
I'm very aware of that case, and that case.
And that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Does it, and I don't really need to know who it involves. I just need to know whether you're aware of all that. Okay. All right, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright is 26 years old. He has no objection to stay away and no further contact. They do not have any child together, and they do not live together. So it is okay for him to stay away. He has been here in Georgia for almost about 10 years. He has his own another child, 9 years old, and he really has to go and get her because her school started this Monday, and he has to go pick up his daughter in New York and bring here because during the school years, he has custody of his child. He has his parents, grandma, and brother and sister here in Georgia. And he also has a job at construction industry. He's been working as a construction person for about 6 years. He's gainfully employed. He graduated from high school, and we would like to request for a signature on bond for this case. And yet, because of the open case, which he is presumed to be innocent, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 a surety bond. Thank you, your honor.
Tucson, what's the incident date of the Gwinnett case?
Let's see. April 20th, 2021.
And that's a battery DV or simple battery?
I see 2 counts of battery DV, 1 count criminal damage to property, and the second giving false name.
All right. Okay. On the simple battery domestic violence, the bond is going to be set at $3,500. That's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Ebony Rhodes and her minor children. He is to stay away from the location of 154 Candlelight Lane in Southwest Atlanta. He may return one time only with a police officer to remove his personal belongings if there are any there. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. His next court date is August 18. Within 30 days of being released, Mr. Wright will update the court with his new mailing address so that we may send him notice of his next court date if he does make bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but the theft by deception charge?
That was NOD'd, I believe, so that charge should not be on his booking sheet anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Said 3,500.
3,500, yeah.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 16, Mr. Contavious Smith.
Contavious Smith is got a child support matter from in case 22 CR 005-201Y. Mr. Smith, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Ms.
Yes, Your
McLeod,
Honor.
what's the purge amount on this warrant?
I am unsure, Your Honor.
All right.
If I may.
Yes, please.
I think it's 274.
It's 274.
All right. Mr. Smith, the purge amount on the warrant is $274. And I cannot amend that. I cannot change that, nor can I make it a signature bond. You would have to pay that amount in order to be released and have this case closed. That is what these abandonment warrants create. All right, Ms. McLeod, as I've said, I cannot amend these matters. These are child support amounts that have been established. Hence, the warrant was issued.
Your Honor, can I get an opportunity to speak with him again? Because I'm going to have to get some contact information for his relatives.
All right. Hang on one second. Yeah, I'm going to put you in a breakout. Just give me 1 second. I just want to make sure of one thing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not very fast on this. Okay. So,
Your Honor, she can talk to him on the phone.
Okay.
all right, the number is 404-612-2392.
612-2392?
Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
And the purge amount again was?
274. Next court date is August 18th.
Your Honor, he doesn't have to come in front of you again, does he?
No.
All right, thank you. May we be excused?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to speak to him.
Yeah.
I'm
Ms.
gonna call
McLeod,
him.
do you have any more cases with us?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, okay, so he'll be waiting your call.
Thank you, Your Honor.
South Annex, who do we have?
Before you is position number 2, Ms. Braden.
All right, Olivia Sue Braden, case number 22 CR 005187G, is accused of criminal trespass causing damage to property from February 27, 2022. Ms. Braden, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Heard arrest. 2016 first offender for shoplifting. May 2021 battery DV. Cruelty in the third. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Possession of a Schedule 2. Criminal trespass. That's 21 CP 200 247. And she's out on pretrial for that.
And what's the pretrial amount?
That's no amount.
It was a UJR, Your Honor.
UJR.
Excuse me. Got a little froggy there.
It comes and goes. Okay, Ms. Falk, what's your bond recommendation?
Our bond recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with D'Artagnan, that is DARTANYON, Ferguson, common spelling. Stay away from 540 Old National Highway, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. I just want to point out that 2021 CP case involves Mr. D'Artagnan Ferguson. The battery was actually against him. The family violence battery was against him. I believe that was an incident in May of 2021. And the stay away condition, there was a stay away condition from Mr. Ferguson, except in the case of exchanging children. So there's already been a previous stay away order involving these two individuals. And despite that stay away order, she did make contact with Mr. Ferguson again on February 27th of 2022, which would have been about 7 to 8 months after she was initially ordered to stay away from him. Mr. Ferguson said he was leaving that location at 5401 Old National Highway, the Biscayne Apartments, leaving a friend's house. As he came around the corner, he saw the defendant. She got out of her car with a brick and threw it at his car, smashing his front windshield. And then when he tried to leave the location, she attempted to run into his vehicle using her vehicle. So obviously the message did not get through with that UJR. She had an opportunity to stay out of custody, to not return, and to not have any contact with him. And instead of using that opportunity, it seems she squandered it. So that is why we were asking for the $3,000 surety bond and no further contact and to stay away. Thank you.
I'm assuming he doesn't live at the Biscayne Apartments, correct?
He does not. So we are asking that she just stay 200 yards away from wherever he resides and from his person.
And are they still exchanging children or child?
We were not able to get in contact. We did make efforts to get in contact with Mr. Ferguson, but I do not believe we were able to make contact. I just want to double check that to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn. That is correct. We were unable to leave a message for Mr. Ferguson at the number that we were provided. So I do not know what the status is at this point.
Miss Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Olivia Brandon is 27 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 6 years. She shares a 3-year-old son with the complaining witness, Mr. Ferguson. Your Honor, we are unopposed to any no contact and stay away orders regarding, I guess, third-party transfer. I would bring to the court's attention that Ms. Brandon informs me that Mr. Ferguson has not completed a legitimation action, and Ms. Brandon does have physical custody of him, Your Honor, of the minor child. Ms. Brandon obtained a GED. She is employed at Big Daddy's Fish. She has been in that position for the past 4 years. She denies the allegations, and what we heard from pretrial is that my client does not have any convictions for violence. She is presumed innocent in this case, as well as any open cases. Again, she denies the allegations. I am requesting a signature bond on Ms. Brandon's behalf. And if Your Honor determines that she is ineligible, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. And again, we are unopposed to the no contact and stay away orders. Thank you.
Your Honor, just to inquire with pretrial, did they agree to any, are they recommending any sort of pretrial release?
No, I didn't see a recommendation.
Just checking. Thank you.
Bond is set at 3,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with D'Artagnan Ferguson, to stay 200 yards away from him, not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner, with the exception of allowing a third-party transfer of the 3-year-old child. Mr. Ferguson also has the right, if he chooses to do so, to file a legitimation action so that he may obtain a court order to establish visitation and custody. She is to stay away from where Mr. Ferguson lives, from where he happens to be physically standing, whether it's at his place of employment, wherever he happens to be. You must stay at least 2 football field lengths away from him. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and your next court date is going to be August 18th. If you do make bond, make sure we have a current address on you so we may send you notice of your next court date. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's
Thank
it.
you, Deputy Milton.
See y'all next time.
You too. Take care. Be safe. All right, Courtroom 3.
Oh, that's Amber.
Yeah, Amber.
Oh.
Who's Amber?
Your Honor, that's Miss Barber's case number 1.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Under the
Courtroom
plea.
3, we have Amber Barber. That's what I was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I didn't forget. Okay. And Miss, let me see. I just want to check my emails to make sure. All right. Have we received the plea paperwork for Miss Amber?
We
Ms.
have
Barber?
received it. We have received it. However, I have a question from Ms. McLeod. He could pay that purge at the jail in order to get out?
Yes.
You get that, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
I did
Just wanted
receive
to
the-
make sure.
Yes, I did receive the paperwork on the plea, so we're ready.
All right. Thank you. All right, Miss Amber Barber, we are addressing case number 22
Oh,
CR.
I see. It is all over her mouth. What did I do with it?
Miss Amber Barber, are you ready to proceed with your plea?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
All right. Case number 22 CR 005-186H, State versus Amber Barber, accused of criminal trespass, on August 2nd, 2022. Ms. Barber, you have been advised of your right to remain silent and you have waived your right to counsel, as we have previously addressed. Do you still want to proceed without an attorney?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide during the course of this plea hearing will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, I believe that your offer was 12 months probation to serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day, balance suspended, and stay away from 751 North Center Avenue in the Shell gas station?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And what city is that in?
That is in Hateville, Your Honor.
Hateville, Georgia. Okay. Anything else?
That is all.
Thank you. Ms. Barber, those are the terms that you would be given credit for the 1 day you've served at the jail. You'll be released. You don't have anything else to do with the case and the case will be closed, but you cannot return to the Shell gas station at 751 North Center Avenue in Hateville, Georgia. You cannot be at the parking lot. You cannot be at the sidewalks. You cannot be in the store, and definitely not anywhere near the gas pumps. Are you prepared to do that?
Yes, I am.
All right, and this is indefinite. If you return anytime soon, they will have you arrested again.
Okay, I am kind of temporarily staying in the area.
You have to stay 200 yards away. That's the length of 2 football fields from that Shell gas station.
Okay, now I know.
Would you be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Barber, if you want to proceed with this plea, you have to agree that the factual basis surrounding the arrest, the location, Fulton County, and that the perpetrator, that is you, are all true and correct.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry?
Nothing, I didn't know how to answer your question.
Well, do you agree that the location in Fulton County is correct?
Yes.
Do you agree that the factual basis surrounding this arrest is true and correct?
Yes.
And do you agree that they arrested the right person?
Yes.
Okay, then that answers all my questions. Now I have a few more. Have you understood everything that has been going on in your case so far?
Yes.
And have you taken any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And do you know, are you going to enter a plea of guilty freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you also understand that if you enter this plea, that you will not have the right to go back to court, to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, and have the assistance of counsel to represent you, and to have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up all these rights? I'm sorry, unmute.
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day, balance suspended. Stay 200 yards away from 751 North Center Avenue in Hapeville, the Shell gas station. That concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I had someone who wanted to speak to me. Was it Miss Samps? Miss Kim? All right.
I don't know, but I'm ready to go over counting when you are, Judge.
Your Honor, I think she came on and left.
All right. Then we'll go down the calendar. Position number 1 was a plea. Position number 2 is a 3,500 surety bond, reset August 18th. Position 3 is a medical reset to August 5th. Position 4 is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Further notice. Position 5 Conley is a $2,000 surety bond, reset August 18th. Position 6 Fletcher is a 2,500 surety bond, reset August 18th. Position 7 is a 5,000 signature bond, further notice. Position 8 is a 3,000 signature bond through the jail, further notice. 9 Griffin is a $3,000 split bond, August 18th. 10 Jones is a 2,500 surety bond, reset August 18th.
Your Honor, I have that as 2,000.
I did as well, Your Honor.
All right, you're correct. It's 2,000. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Really, I have to improve my writing. Position 11, Kemp is a $1,000 surety bond, August 18th. Position 12 is I've got 3,000 surety, August 18th. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Position 13 is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice.
I have 2,000.
Did I?
Judge, you are? It's 2,000.
I have 3,000.
I got 2,000.
I have 2,000 as well.
I have 3,000.
Let's go with 3,000.
Let's go with 3.
I'll raise it. Okay.
3,000.
Holly, we right, just so you know.
Shelton, that's why I go down the calendar.
Your Honor,
Okay,
it is
correct.
$2,000, Your Honor. I do have it. My clear note is right here. And his mom is calling me 11 times. Please let her in, please. Thank you.
All right. It's a $3,000 signature bond.
It was 2,000, Your Honor.
I know, but still a signature bond.
Thank you.
And he's going to be an NFL player. So, you know, he's going to get used to big numbers. So,
His mom really want to talk to you. Your
Well,
Honor.
whenever she's in, we can talk to her.
Sure.
So
Thank
the
you, Your
host will
Honor.
let Miss Samps in, that'd be great, or
Thank you, Your Honor.
Shauna Sullivan, thank you. Shelton is a $1,500 surety bond, August 18. Jessica Smith is a $3,000 signature bond for the notice. 16, Contavia Smith is a $274 purge amount payable at the jail. Brian Sullivan is a $3,500 signature bond for pretrial for the notice.
Her judge.
Yes. Turner is a $1,000 surety bond, August 18. 19, Wada is a $9,500 split bond, reset August 18. Position 20, Wright is a $3,500 surety bond, reset date August 18.
Okay.
All right, we good?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Ms. Sullivan, if you are present. Ms. Kim, is she on a, okay, there she is. All right. We have a screen 641234. If we can change that to Shauna Sullivan. All right, Ms. Sullivan, my name is Judge Law. If you can hear me, please, and you want to say something, please raise your right hand. Other right hand.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I apologize.
Okay, that's all right. We get that a lot.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So presently, Jonathan Samps can be released on a signature bond. He's not going to be paying any bond. He will stay with Uncle Howard. Uncle Howard will co-sign his bond, and he's required to stay away from you until further order of the court. His next court date will be set on a plea and arraignment calendar where he can show up. At that time also, hopefully he will qualify for what we call pretrial diversion. It's a program that is offered to individuals with little or no history. And if that program is offered to him, he can perhaps take advantage of that program to resolve this case and have it closed out without any bleeps on his record. Now, my concern is that considering this was an event involving not only you, but the police, and when the police showed up, he allegedly still refused to comply. I'm issuing a no further contact and to stay away from your location until he takes advantage of what I've just detailed.
We had spoke, me and him, he called me, and we had a long conversation where he kept calling me back. So he says that he apologized to me, and he says that he wants to come back home. He was staying here. He left, but then because he had a job doing side work or whatever, so then he came back and he said he wanted to come back and stay. So I told him he could, but he has to be respectful and not disrespectful. So that's what he said, and I said that it was okay, just long as he be respectful instead of not disrespectful.
Unfortunately, the arrest now not only going to hopefully teach him to be more respectful, but is also going to give him some learning curve that he needs to work towards resolving this case. So I'm still not inclined to change my bond order. Like I said, he can speak with his attorney, the public defender's office, and we have the prosecution also present. And if he qualifies for what we call pretrial diversion, then he needs to take advantage of that to resolve this matter. This is what we call big boy growing lessons.
I understand what you're saying. You're right.
All right.
I understand.
Okay. That concludes this case then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bridgewater, I look forward to your email. All right.
Yes.
Everybody else,
I'm putting it in order
have...
for you right now so that I can send it over.
All right. Everybody else have a great weekend, and I'll see you hopefully next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.